G-Body how to remove the fender on your 78 to 88 G-Body. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Classic G-Body Garage. My name is Brian, and this is another G-Body how-to video to help you guys on your G-Body projects. Now, before I go any further on this video, please click the link in the upper left-hand corner of this video. There you will find the G-Body how-to playlist. Within that playlist, there is a series of videos to help you out on your G-Body projects. Now, if you don't find what you're looking for there, please leave a comment below. Give me a suggestion for some future videos to help you guys out. Alright, now, removing the fender on the 78 to 88 G-Body. The procedure is going to be the same throughout all years, makes, and models. The fender is held on the same way no matter what vehicle you're working on. So in this particular situation, I'll be working on a 1986 Cutlass Supreme. Now, this car in particular, I'm just going to show you where all the bolts are located. I'm actually going to be taking the fender off of my 86 Cutlass Supreme parts car. So let's get started. Now we do have a couple of options here when it comes to removing the fender. We could remove the fender with the fender itself, or remove the fender with the inner well. Now the inner well is going to be this inner structure, this curved housing that goes around the tire itself. Alright? Now you can remove the fender with the inner well or without it. Now, when removing the fender by itself, leaving the inner well on the car, there's going to be a series of bolts that line the outer portion of the fender, perimeter of the wheel well right here, that hold the fender to the inner well. And then there are also going to be a series of bolts on the inside as well that hold the inner well to the fender. Now in my situation, I'm going to be removing the fender and inner well as a whole. So let me show you where all the mounting points are. I'm going to first start off by showing you where the header panel and the fender bolt together. We have a 10mm bolt here on the top, and then there is going to be a series of bolts down the inner portion of the fender. They're going to be accessible through the inside of the fender. Through here you get yourself a ratchet and an extension to access those nuts. Now I do have a video on how to remove the header panel for 78 to 88 G-Bodies. I'll go ahead and link that video within this video for your access. Now of course, some cars are going to have a bumper cover, some cars are going to have a bumper filler, so there's going to be a series of bolts that line that fasten the bumper cover, whatever you might have, to the fender. Go ahead and remove those. Alright, next, the main mounting points of the fender itself. We have two on the top, 13mm bolts that hold the fender to the core support, and we have two in the back, 15mm here on the top, and one on the inner portion of the fender. Both of those are 15mm. Please note that there are shims. You have to make sure that you take note of those, tape them together, whatever you might do. Do not lose track of them. Note where they're located, note the thickness, tape them up, mark them with a Sharpie, whatever you got to do, because those are going to go back into place. Alright, more fender mounting points. Open the door, you're going to find them inside the door jamb. There's going to be one on the top, the shim located on that one as well, and one on the bottom, the shim located there as well. Now I mentioned these shims. Not all G-Bodies are going to have a shim in those locations. You're going to note that for your car specifically. Every car is different. Every car may or may not have a shim. Every car may have different thickness shims. So that's why I tell you to note that. Okay, so those are all the mounting points of the fender. Door jamb, top of the fender there, top of the fender on the front. There is one more. There's one on the very bottom. Found right here. You can feel it when you put your hand underneath here. See if I can get the camera underneath there. You can take a look at that. And that is a 15mm bolt as well. So those are all the mounting points. There are still a few more. Yes, there are a lot. The fender itself is bolted to the core support. One bolt there on the bottom, on the inner side of the core support. That is a 13mm bolt. Then you have 3 across the core support here that hold the inner well to the core support. Those are 13 millimeter. And then you have a 13 millimeter bolt that holds the inner well to the body itself. Now, when every one of those bolts are removed, the header panel is loose, the hood is off, you should be able to remove your fender. So, let me move on to the 86 Cutlass Supreme, and then I will show you the rest of it. Alright, well, as you can see, the header panel and bumper cover have already been removed. Now, if you're wondering how to remove those, I'll put a link in this video as well, and in the description below on that particular video, so you can follow along there. Now, if the header panel is still on your vehicle, you do not have to remove it. You simply just unbolt the header panel from the fender in these series of bolts that run down the fender here, and of course the bumper cover that bolts on right here and right here. Alright, making some big progress. Got pretty much all the bolts out that hold the fender on. Got the hood removed. Now, I did tell you guys, one thing that you need to take note if you are putting the car back together, if yours is not a parts car, assuming it's not, and what you want to take note are the shims. Cars are going to have shims in the fenders. There are two of them here, two different thicknesses. Tape them together, mark them, do whatever it takes to make sure that you put the correct shims back in the correct spots. Now, I still had to undo the radiator overflow. The map sensor right here. If your car has power antenna, make sure you unplug the antenna and the power harness. Also, the carbon canister hoses as well. Now, this fender is ready to come off. Well, there you go, guys. That's how you remove the fender on an 81 through 88 Cutlass two-door. Now, like I said, this is going to be the same type of procedure from 78 to 88 G-Body. The fender mounts are pretty much going to be all of the same. Things might vary from model to model, like I said, but for the most part, it's going to be the same. Got the fender sitting here, all ready to go to the person who bought it. All right, guys. If you found this video helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, the links down below for the Classic G-Body Garage Facebook and Instagram pages. All right, guys, until the next Classic G-Body Garage video, keep those G-Bodies rolling.